The following presentation was recorded live in Cincinnati, Ohio, for CALLERLAB's 25th Annual Convention. This is tape 14, Voice Critique Session, Part 2.
Are we on? Yeah, okay. It's about time for us to get on to this thing here. We've been voice lessoning around for a couple of days, and now in this session, we've got 4 volunteers, who are here to sing. I don't know who all of you are. Let me see by show of hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good enough. Laurel. Okay, Laurel. What is it that you want to try to accomplish in this 20 minutes or so that we get together?
I think a lot of times dancers look at women and say, oh, I'm not going to be able to understand them because they're too high or they're too low or they're too this or too that. I want to find out what really there is out there that is a problem for dancers.
Actually, it's because you look like a woman and the men can't pay attention. All right, so why don't you go ahead and start. What are you going to sing first?
I Believe in Music.
Good enough. All right.
Are we using this? Okay, well, we're going to slow that down.
Chain go 3/4 round. You roll away and circle left around that town. Clap your hands and stomp your feet and shake a tambourine. Alabama left your corner, lady, weak the ring. 'Cause I believe in music. Swing and whirl your girl around and all promenade. I believe in music, you know now I believe in love.
I'm going to get you to do that again.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything, but this time I want you to pay particular attention about something. I want you to figure out where your voice vibrates while you're singing. It may change from one place to the other, but it may not. Okay, so it's just sing exactly what you sang just a moment ago, but pay attention to where the energies are. Here are a couple of places to be looking for it. It may vibrate somewhere up in the bones of your face, behind your nose somewhere. It may vibrate back in the back of your mouth. It may vibrate on your teeth. It may vibrate in the upper part of your chest. Those are 4 common places. Just look and see. And simultaneously, you folks that are listening, see if you can identify where the primary energy pockets are in her voice.
Chain go 3/4 round. Roll away and circle left around that town. Clap your hands, stomp your feet and shake a tambourine. Alabama that corner, lady, weave around the ring. 'Cause I believe in music. Swing and whirl your girl around and all promenade. I believe in music, you know now I believe in love.
That question, y'all got to admit, that's a very lovely voice. It's a good, pretty voice to listen to. Let's see if there's anything that she can do to make improvement upon it. What's your answer?
Anytime that I said I or held anything out, and when I dropped below a certain note place. I mean, those were the...
Where did you feel the energy in your voice?
Is that what I'm doing when I feel the vibrations? That's where...
When you feel the vibrations, where do you feel it?
Oh, here and here.
Feel it right on your lips.
Mm-hmm.
Feel it anywhere in the back of your mouth?
No, not too much.
Not too much. Just
is that bad?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm supposed to. I'll put it wherever I'm supposed to.
Yeah, just tell me the answer and I'll give it to you.
Say the word. Sing. I believe in music.
I believe in music.
And finish it.
I believe in love.
Okay, now go back to what we were doing just this morning with the quality of your voice, and say the word I is a compound of two different sounds. Ah, and E. And not ah.
I know.
Now, what are you supposed to do when you say an ah?
Ah.
Oh, my golly. Say, try it.
I.
Now sing it.
I.
But on the pitch.
Oh, wait. I believe in love.
I believe in music. I
Believe in love.
There you are.
I believe in music. I believe in love.
What do you think? Is that easier to understand? It's also nicer to listen to. It's got a nice mellow quality to it. But you go, I believe in music. I believe in love. I believe in music. You know that space. Now smell the rose and sing that way.
I believe in music. I believe in love. I tightened up. I could feel it tightened up.
A little bit.
Yeah.
In the word love?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I'm not supposed to do that, right?
So now don't do that.
Okay. I believe in music. I believe in love.
You didn't do it, did you?
No.
See, what you do when you're trying to fix your voice is you decide what it is that you don't want to do, and then you don't do it anymore. You chuckle about that, but that's really true. Where most people say, well, I can't do that, it's because they're not self-aware enough to be able to determine what it is that's going wrong. It's not like it was wrong, but this is a whole lot better. Does it sound awful highfalutin to you? Does it sound too phony? Does it sound too phony to you? Well, so that's a question of self-perception. Now, with that open space behind your throat, which is a bit of a weird feeling, say your commands as if you really meant it. Right now what she's doing is she's real self-conscious about doing that, so she's obeying what I'm asking her to do, but there's no sense of command in that. There's no sense of I really believe what I'm saying. Now, really believe what you're saying while you're in that position.
Okay. With music?
No.
Just this. I believe in music. That's too loud. I believe in music. I believe in love. I believe in music. I believe in love.
Now you tell them how that feels differently.
Okay, you tell me how it feels differently and I'll tell them.
Is there a change in that?
From the last time we did it? No,
Well, since you've been doing it with your mouth more open.
Oh, yeah.
You tell what the difference is?
There's more resonance here.
Yeah. There's something more than that. There's more going on than just that, but that's a big deal, right?
The whole position, and I guess I'm so conscious of what I'm trying to say that I'm not really thinking about what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like the back of your throat's pretty open too, doesn't it? And that's the unusual part that I hear. It also connects down to your chest pretty good. Now notice, she's a southern gal and she doesn't want to entirely lose that accent. But if you say, I believe in music, I believe in love, that's still with the mouth open, still with a nice resonance, but don't sacrifice the fact that you're southern. You don't have to say, I believe in music.
That's what I feel like I'm doing.
She feels phony right now.
Real.
No, but it's not phony. It's just open. That's what an open throat feels like. Why don't you go back and do the whole thing? Now, folks, listen. You're going to try to hold on to that feeling, because it's actually a feeling, isn't it? It's a whole sense of how your voice vibrates. That's right. The other one is kind of collapsed down here inside and comes sort of straight out your mouth. When you get that space in behind, it doesn't feel like it's quite coming out your mouth the same way. It almost feels like you're singing out your eyeballs. I mean, the trajectory, it moves up into the bones of the face and not down in the lips quite as much. It's still, the sound honestly does come out your mouth, but it doesn't feel that way. Now, try that, and you see if you can understand her while she's making this prettier sound. Commands and all.
4 ladies chain go 3/4 round. Roll away, circle left around the town. Clap your hands and stomp your feet, shake a tambourine. Alum and that corner lady weave around the ring. I believe in music. Swing your girl and then you all promenade. I believe in music. I believe in love. Heads you promenade, go halfway around. Walk in and square through, four hands go round. Do a do-side-o, the outside pair. Swing through, boy run right, Ferris wheel. Square through, three hands and go. Swing your corner girl and promenade her home. I believe in music. I believe in love.
Okay, what'd you get?
Oh, just all open. You can hear it. You can hear the music. You can hear your voice. Yeah, it's, it's amazing.
By golly, you're right. There really is music going on. Can you still understand her? Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's much more pleasant. But did you notice I popped out of my seat while she was going through the first one of them because she wasn't doing that. And then I asked her to do it. She's saying, I believe in music. And she said, oh, yeah, I remember what that feels like. And the next set of commands, she kept that same thing. How'd you do it? When I'm not here bugging you, how are you going to know how to do that?
It's going to be a conscious effort. I mean, you're just going to have to open.
Yeah, got to open up your mouth a little bit. But it's more than that. It's a feeling inside your body. It vibrates differently, your voice does, doesn't it?
It helped when I stood still.
Oh. Well, I don't think that posture helps. I don't think you do have to stand still. But while you're first figuring it out, maybe so. If you could get an image, a feeling image about where your voice is supposed to go, and so you didn't have to think about all the details of opening your mouth and putting your tongue in a certain place, which is awfully mechanical and leaves you not able to concentrate on what you really want. Maybe you could get it done, but easier. You know what it feels like just for you? Sneeze. Can you get that feeling? It's kind of, there's a spot somewhere up behind the roof of your mouth, behind your nose, right? So can you sing, I believe in music, like you're about ready to sneeze? This is one of the ways, by the way, that you keep your throat open. Because when you're getting ready to sneeze, your throat opens up so as to let the breath come out of your chest, out of your lungs, the way it's supposed to. And the sneeze causes the roof of your mouth to raise up in the right position so that it's real conducive to singing. So you got that feeling? Like,
I believe in music. I believe in love.
Now, sing some commands.
Head square through and count 'em, four hands and go. Do side, do that corner, once around you know. Swing through, boy run to the right. Bend your line and do the right and left through.
Now, all of a sudden, what she's doing is trying to hold on to that. And honest to goodness, while you're watching her, you think, give that girl a handkerchief. She's about to lose it. But she's not having to think about how far her jaw drops open. She's not having to think about all of those other mechanical things. She's just trying to hold on to that one feeling. And that one feeling you can hold on to. You just have to think about it. You betcha. Okay, now, any other things that are on your mind other than that? The quality of your voice is a little different now, isn't it?
Yes, much different.
Yeah, but not complicated.
No, it's not complicated. That was very easy, much easier than what we were doing in the first session.
That's right. All of the things we were doing in the first session were the mechanics that led to that. But once you've done it, you say, oh, once I got a whole package together, it feels sort of like I was about ready to sneeze, or like I was smelling that rose, like we were talking about. It gets the back of your throat nice and calm and relaxed, gets you singing the vowels where they belong so that they don't tighten up in your throat. So the quality of your voice changes sharply, but you don't have to do that much with it. Now start the record one more time and see if you can hold on to that notion for a bit, okay?
Now I have a concern. When I'm doing that, it doesn't feel as if I am commanding people to do something. It feels like I am just trying to get something across to you sitting there. So is this going to have the same effect with the dance floor?
The way you'll find that out is to do it.
Okay.
And if everybody stops in their place and goes, oh, isn't that pretty? then you'll have missed their point, right? And then you'll go back to nagging at them. And that's what it sounds like when you get a small throat, ladies. That's what it sounds like. That's the way you talk to your kids when they won't clean up their room. You get a little edge in your voice so that they'll believe you and obey you. And that's how come your husband stays away at work so long, and how come your kids don't like you when they get to be teenagers. It's a quality of voice. And I promise you, if you were to say, not, clean up your room, if you'd say, clean up your room, please, they would say, that's exactly right. They'd say, as a strange person moved into the house. Now, you know, you're busy thinking about a thing right now which distracts you from your actual purpose, which is to lead the floor. And so, like any new skill, it feels unnatural until it becomes natural. You know how to drive a stick shift car?
No.
Okay. You ever driven with somebody who tries to drive a stick shift car?
Uh-huh.
You ever seen movies where kids are trying to learn how to drive stick shift?
Huh?
What happens?
They forget what they're doing. They forget what they're doing here for what they're doing down here on the floorboard.
That's right, and they get all jackrabbity. They try to let out the clutch while the gear's not in, and it goes, or they get it in gear. They let out the clutch too soon, hop themselves 4 feet, and kill the engine dead nail. Okay, so what happens is that when you first start out driving with a stick shift, nobody feels comfortable with that. It's an absolutely awkward experience. So you leave them for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. And then you go back to the teenager and you say, how you doing? And he says, I'm fine. And he never does worry about his gear shift until his girlfriend's in the car with him. And then he's a little conscious of it, but otherwise he's not. And then you let him drive for 4 or 5 years. And then he drives to the grocery store 5 miles off, and he comes home and you say, how many times you shift gears? And he says, I don't know. I don't know. You have to stop. Let's see, there was that stop sign and that stop sign. There was a stoplight and I turned. Yeah, and so he could add it up. But in truth, doesn't even think about it anymore. That thing that felt so awkward, it becomes second nature. Singing, the way you're singing, is exactly the same thing. And it takes just about the same length of time to get used to a change. At first, that's all you can do is just concentrate on it and concentrate on it. Within a couple of weeks, you don't have to concentrate on it so much. Within a year, you're not thinking about it at all. That's it. So why don't you start one more time trying to keep that feeling and sing with command.
Okay.
Chain go 3/4 round. Roll away and circle left around the town. Clap your hands, stomp your feet, shake a tambourine. Alum in the corner, weave the ring. I believe in music. Swing and whirl the girl around and all promenade. I believe in music. I believe in love. Head square through and count 'em, 4 hands you go. Do side, do that corner, once around you know. Swing through, boy run right. Bend the line, to the right and left through. Turn that girl, flutter wheel, go straight across. Slide through, swing your girl and then you all promenade. I believe in music. I believe in love.
She sounds like a woman, doesn't she? Not like a girl. And that's an important thing to recognize. Ladies, you want to get a sexy voice? You learn how to open up the space behind your throat, behind your tongue. If you don't have that, you get a kind of an edgy quality. Men do the same thing. But if you get that mellow space behind there, it starts to feel warm and it starts to feel friendly. There's a kind of a pattern that locks on when you do that. I was listening. It took you about 2 measures, and then you sort of reminded yourself and you got locked into place. There, in her voice right now, there is bright sound, which makes it carry, and there's warm sound that makes it mellow. And when those things come into balance, it's just like taking the the dial on your stereo between the tweeter and the woofer and kind of finding a balance so that it just feels really just right. That's all you've done, is just taken the woofer part of your voice and mixed it in with the tweeter part that was already there, and it's come into balance. It sounds as if she's singing lower, doesn't it? She's singing a lower pitch. It's not. It's exactly the same pitch that she started on. That's quality, voice quality. So you ladies that, I watched you set the volume, or you set the speed on it, and you said, oops, I'm going to turn that one back down. Why do you turn it down? To lower the pitch. Why do you lower the pitch? So that your voice won't sound so shrill. It isn't necessarily the same. You can get that higher pitch and still sound mellow. Let's find out.
Well, I slowed it down.
I know you
For
did.
other reasons, too, because it's too fast.
Well, let's speed it up. It's not going to speed up appreciably. It's just a little bit, enough to change the pitch some. Let's find out if she can keep this kind of balance in a higher pitch. And I bet she can. We'll only do the first part of it.
Okay.
Four ladies train go 3/4 round. Roll away and circle left around the town. Clap your hands, stomp your feet, shake a tambourine. Alum and the corner lady weave around the ring. I believe in music. Swing and whirl your girl around and all promenade. I believe in music, you know now I believe in love.
That still sounds like Laurel, doesn't it? It doesn't sound particularly different. It's managing the resonances inside your body instead of making the machine solve the quality. All of a sudden, you have the ability to go faster if you want to, slower if you want to, for dancing purposes, not for resonance purposes. All right, Laurel? Congratulations. Good job.
Thank you.
Who's up next? Mary Ann's up next. No, you are. Okay, now Otis, what do you want to try to accomplish?
I have no idea. I'm just new.
He doesn't have any idea. Oh, good. This is over. I can go anywhere I want to with this one.
Anything will be an improvement.
And he won't know the slightest thing. Okay. What you going to sing?
El Paso. Circle left. Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican girl. Men star right to Rose's Cantina, left Alum and come back boxing that. Four ladies promenade inside that ring, back home swing and promenade. My love was deep for this Mexican maiden. I was in love, but in vain I could tell. Men drive through four hands to El Paso, and with the sides do a right and left through. Veer left and couple circulate, move up in time. Chain down the line, turn for Lena for me.
Anybody get nervous out there? Your feet were about 3 steps ahead of where he was calling. Yeah, so timing is an issue for you, isn't it? Has it always been? What you should know about yourself is that you keep perfect time with yourself. You don't keep perfect time with the record. So that's, having said that, all you got to do, if you're holding perfect time and running along a little bit late to the music, just speed yourself up, and then you'll be right with it. Then you say, well, how come he has that problem? Why does it occur that way? And there is actually a very simple answer to this, although it may be a little bit harder to take care of. When you start out, you wait for the sound to come in your ear to tell you where you are. Then you think about the note that you're supposed to be singing, and it comes out of your mouth, and by the time it makes it outside your mouth, you're behind in the beat. So you're waiting for the sound to cue you when you're actually supposed to be cueing the sound. You're supposed to create the impression that because of you, the music's happening, not like you're being drugged like a dog with the collar after. So your timing, you stay in time with yourself, you're just late to the music. So I want you to either tap on your leg like this, or you can tap your foot. Da da dee da 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 dum da da dee dum. Okay, now here's a little drill. This is how you practice timing. I'm going to clap my hands twice, like this. And I want you, I'm going to clap twice as fast as you. I want you to clap every other time that I clap. It's hard to do, isn't it? But what you have to listen, musicians all have to learn how to do this. It's a spatial relationship. If I'm going like this at a very regular pulse, everybody do this with me. Clap every other time. Every other time. So, hold on. So you're going to be going bum, bum, about that speed. Here I go. Got a little harder to do when I slowed it down, didn't it? Partially because you couldn't hear. Everybody else was... That's right. It got kind of clappy. Okay, we're going to try it again, Otis. Yeah, I'm going to be more predictable this time. So... Caught on. Now what he's doing is he's paying attention to what's going on very carefully, and he's anticipating where the next beat is going to arrive. And it's that anticipation that's going to allow you to get in time. This time I'm going to go 3 claps. This is a waltz time. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You notice how quickly he can adjust. Takes him, especially it's hard when I'm slowing down. But one of the things about musical rhythm is that it's very predictable. It starts like a train and it stops like a train. It doesn't all of a sudden jump to full speed. You'll notice that every square dance record has a bridge at the beginning, has an introduction that sets the tempo that the dancer is going to work at before they have to identify any kind of command. They've already got the rhythm anticipated in their body. And square dance records never vary in their cadence. They don't slow down because the dancers get going in that pace. So that little drill that I did with you, Otis, was actually more just to get you thinking about anticipating the beat. Now I'm going to put the record on, and I want you to clap the beats. Don't sing, don't do anything, just clap the beats. Jum bum, jum ba da dee da da dum da da dum. It's about that speed. Did I make it? Yep. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go twice as fast. Feel that? Just as regular as clockwork, isn't it? Now you just have to stay there with it. Okay? I'm going to hold the microphone for you. Can you sing and clap at the same time? See if you can. Here's the introduction.
CALLERLAB. Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican maid. Me and Starlight, 2 roses cantina. Tell a man come back on Cincinnati. He's promenading inside that arena.
Okay, now he's getting it a whole lot better now that he's thinking about that element. For those of you that have trouble with timing, the best thing that you can do is to double time the rhythm that you're supposed to take. Now, I've had him clapping each one of the main pulses. But you actually know that it goes twice that fast. The people's feet move twice that fast. So if you want to clap out to yourselves the pace at which people's feet move. Therefore, it'd be this speed. Bum da da dum ba da dee da da dum ba da dee da bum ba da dee da da dee da da dum. And the reason that's important as you get this pace going is because with one pulse in between each one of the main pulses, the singing pulses, your body will be able to have a measure about where the next one's supposed to come. If you've got a bridge that goes from here to here, it's sometimes hard to project right where that's going to land. But if you've got two little bridges and they're identical, it's easier to kind of take care of your timing that way. So this time when you do that again, this time clap twice as fast. You were actually very good that time, but I think that this double clap will help you even more. Okay, so that right off the bat. The issues of timing don't have to remain unresolved. You saw the process that we went through, and all Otis had to do was to become aware, and his body could solve the problem right away. And I knew you could, because you were keeping time with yourself. You just weren't with the record. And that can be terribly disconcerting to dancers on the floor. It really can. So it's something that you want to try to resolve. The second issue was you don't want to go around clapping all the time. So one of the things you do is you get your wife coming up behind you all night, whacking you on the shoulder, beating you on the head, some such thing. Or you tap your leg, or you tap your foot. You just hold on some kind of rhythm. Most people have internal rhythm in their bodies to begin with. That allows you to put the important syllables on the right beat. Almost never will a person choose to put an important stressed syllable in our language on a weak beat. I've tried this a couple of times. I direct theater productions from time to time. And trying to get the cadence, trying to get the people to pick up their lines, I will simply start clicking my finger or snapping my hand, clapping my hands or snapping my finger. And by just setting that pace, if I clap this loud, the dialogue will move at that pace. And somehow the people on the stage can hear that rhythm, and you'll be amazed to find how even without any music, they just find the way to put the natural strong beats right on the pulse. Can you hear what I'm doing? I'm just talking normal language. But all of my talking, all of the important words are arriving on the strong pulses. Did you see that? That just is the way our bodies work. We find our own internal meter. So you can do that to yourself with your music. Okay, so that's one issue that you wanted to try to address. What else would be next most important to you? Well, yes, but let's look at what you think is most important.
Projection.
Projection is the next issue that's greatest importance. His voice has a tendency to be kind of on the warm side, just like here, or it also lacks vitality. Would you say that? Well, it's a soothing voice, but it doesn't have much vigor in it, much vim. So, you know this little thing right here that we did earlier today? Can I get you to do that? Can I get you to put your hands in a number 2 position? And that's 3. 2's right here on the bridge of your nose, right up through here. Count to 5 there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Actually, that's a 4 position with your hands in a 2 place. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's beginning to be more like it. Do it again, please.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That's already got more vitality in the tone, just because it's up in the front of his mouth and not hanging at the back of his mouth. Think about the color of your voice, and think of it as being at the front or the back of a cave. If you're at the front of the cave and you're hollering outward towards somebody, all of the chamber back behind is just echo space. And so the words that you say project outward easily, and somebody can understand it while still getting the benefit of the echo of the cave behind. If, however, you go to the back of the cave and you holler at somebody, all of that echo chamber garbles the words to the point where it's outside, you can't be understood. And it's a little bit like that with your own singing voice. So I'm going to put this on again. I'll hold the microphone, but you sing in that 2 place, okay? No, well, count 2. That'll be right. How many children do you have, Otis?
3.
I'd have figured you'd had more.
3.
Okay, well, with a fellow that much trouble with rhythm, I'd have figured he'd... Ready?
Circle it. Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican maid. Being starlight to Rosa's Cantina, left Alabama, come back boxing in. 4 ladies promenade inside that arena, bag on swinging promenade. My love was deep for this Mexican maid. I was in love, but in vain I could tell. Came 2 square through.
Isn't that good? Now all of a sudden it matters to you whether or not you listen, because there's some vitality in the sound. Now that he's got vitality in some of the sounds, however, the ones where the vitality isn't really stick out, don't they? Those low notes are kind of right at the bottom of your range, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Okay. And the other thing I was going to say, in terms of quality of voice, we're going to do 2 little tasks as time permits us. The first one is that you can hear that Otis's voice has a kind of a breathy quality to it. It isn't what you'd call highly focused voice. So from the sessions that we had this morning, would recall that sometimes when a voice sounds breathy, it's not because there's too much breath in it, it's because there's not enough breath in it. Does that concept ring a bell with anybody? Do you remember us talking about that? So, would you sing this thing again, only this time use more breath than you've used before, by a big amount? Go ahead.
Right now?
Yeah.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican maid.
Time out. Now, does that make you feel like you're out of control? Oh, good. Then do it again.
Starting over. Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican maid. Men star right to Rosa's Cantina, left Alaman, come back boxing at.
Can you hear that most of the way through his tone gets clearer just because he uses a little bit more breath? Now, he's got a couple of tasks that he's working on simultaneously, and it's kind of hard to pick out what it is that's making the difference. First of all, he brings the sound a little bit more forward in his mouth, and that helps a lot to get the vitality in it. He gets a little more breath in it, and lo and behold, the music sounds, his voice sounds less breathy than it was most of the time. But it's still got a little bit of a challenge right at the bottom of the range where it still wants to gravel out on you. So you got 2 tasks that you're working on. Keep your breath going and keeping your voice forward. Right? Now, should we put another ball in the air for you? All right. Now, I want to go back to what Laurel was doing just here a moment ago. You know what it feels like to sneeze? Okay, can you capture that? Can you capture that feeling? Oh. Out.
Out in the West Texas town
Keep sneezing.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican maid.
Okay, now I personally like that very much better, even though it's a little subtle in its difference. There's a clarity that kind of comes into his voice all the way through it now, because his throat is universally more open than it was. The only real problem left is the fact that the bottom notes sound too low for Otis. Would you all agree with that? Kind of gravels out on him. Okay, we're coming over to the piano here. Little voice lesson time, Otis. Can you keep that sneeze in your voice? Can you sing? Oh, oh, oh. That one bumped on you. Could you feel it?
Oh, 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 oh.
This is much lower than we were when he sings this song, but it's not graveling on him because he's got his throat open and he's bending his pitches. He's got his voice better aligned than it was before. Should we try it one more time? This time, don't be so stiff. You got some Scottish blood in you?
Very little Scottish.
I thought it'd been a whole bunch more. You sure are stingy with the way you use your air.
Oh,
That bumped.
oh, oh, oh,
Now, doesn't that surprise y'all? If you, it's sort of like parlor tricks, isn't it? That's a magic act. How did that happen? I want to get underneath the table and see where he's hiding those extra notes. But you got to describe to them the difference in how that feels from what you're used to.
well, it felt clear.
Well, it did. It sounds clear. You betcha. Does it also feel that way?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay. Can you imitate yourself and sing out in the town? What is it? West of the... I don't know the truth.
Want me to do it?
Yeah.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in...
Hang on. That was that note. Yeah, you have to relax into it. You can't push into it, can you? Go.
I fell in love with a Mexican maid. Men star right to Rose's Cantina. Left Alameda.
Hang on.
Left Alameda.
Don't push at it. Just relax into it.
Left Alameda. Come back boxing at.
I can just see Otis. He said he's out on the dance floor. He said, "Wait a minute! I got to go back and sing that note again." It'll give me 3 tries, and all the dancers are out going. So part of what you got to do is practice it so it'll work on a regular basis. Would you try it again? Out in the town.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in...
Nope. Now remember, are you about ready to sneeze? Thank you.
Start again?
Yeah.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in...
Nope.
I...
Which one of those do you want?
I was floating into it.
Yeah, he sort of slipped into it. It's kind of hit a banana peel in there, didn't you? One more time.
Out in the...
Wait. Out
in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell...
Nope.
I...
Now, what's Otis doing right now? He's going off of old habits that says where that note is, but it isn't. And each time I stop and give him the correct pitch, he immediately goes there. What that means is that his memory of how this song goes has been put in a little bit faultily. So that note doesn't ring true. You have to go back and go, out in the West Texas town of El Paso, Paso, I fell in love, until you get that note tuned just right. Your turn.
Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican maid.
Now, he actually taught that to himself. All I did was hold his feet to the fire until he finally got it figured out. You're the same as Otis is. All of you, your bodies will do it right if you give the body the chance to do it. What happens with most folks is that they're just feeling a little bit too self-conscious, and they hit a spot that they don't feel comfortable with. And instead of taking the time to stop and solve the problem, you get nervous and you hurry on through the spot that you don't like, instead of really stopping to look at it carefully, slowing it down, letting your body finding its pace, and then speeding it back up again. One last time with the record on, and then we'll go on. Now, this is a whole bunch of stuff that Otis has been trying to do. He's corrected some rhythmic troubles. He's got rid of the sandy quality in his voice, got it focused up. It's no longer in the back of his throat. And he's picking up some low notes in his voice that he didn't think he had. Not bad for I was going to say an old dog with new tricks, but you're a new dog, aren't you, in this particular field. And so that's terrific. Here you go.
Circle F. Out in the West Texas town of El Paso, I fell in love with a Mexican maid. Men star right to Rose's Cantina, left Alaman, come back boxing that. 4 ladies promenade inside that ring, back home swinging promenade. My love was deep.
We've had a little dog and pony show here with Otis at Otis's expense. He's done a whole bunch of little tricks and been successful with it. But now Otis will go home and you'll either adopt those tricks or you won't. And it really is up to you of whether you got it figured out. Do you have any questions to be able to pull that off?
Just got to work at it.
You got exactly right. Thank you, Otis.
Thank you.
Okay, Marianne. No, we're doing boy, girl here. What you going to sing?
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe.
I don't know that song. Do any of you know Eeny, Meeny, Miny, Moe?
Well, I have 2 things that kind of show what my problem is.
All right.
My regards to Broadway.
Give her regards to Broadway. Okay. What is it that we're looking for here? Or do you even need to tell me?
I only have 4 minor problems, occasional minor problems.
Which are?
FLANT.
No, I was, well, okay. There are multiple definitions of that word. Yes.
Circle left. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Left Alamanger Corner. Come home in Boxtonette. Or Ladies Promenade inside the square. Turn your partner by the right, a full turn around. Alaman left, come back and promenade. Oh, give my regards to old Broadway and tell them I will soon be there. Oops.
Sorry. She has trouble with intonation in certain ranges of her voice. You know that. Everybody teases you about it, apparently. But apparently she's a pretty good sport about it, too, wouldn't you say? But Marianne does not have a problem with being able to hear and recognize and reproduce pitches. It's not a universal problem. It only happens in a very limited range. And that range, that difficulty, stems from her inability to shift the gears that we were talking about in the registration moments this morning, extending your range. And that's because you're comfortable with the range that you're familiar with, and when it starts to slip out of there, you become uncomfortable, don't you? All right, so should we tinker with that a little bit? Are you game? The pitch of the song that you're singing is "Give My Regards to Broadway." Now, for your information, that starts on a C and goes up to an F, G, and for many women's voices, the most problematic pitch range is from E to G. And so the top of this song sits right on that fault line. And Marianne is not unique. That happens to most ladies. It's right in that range that ladies either have sung higher than that, and when they come down to that range, they have to shift into their chest voice and don't know how. That happened to the lady that was here this morning. Or, in Marianne's case, sing down below that range and have to figure out how to shift out of it into their middle voice. So, first thing that I'm going to do is help you to find that shifting point, all right? Can you say, howdy?
Howdy.
Yeah, howdy.
Howdy.
No, that's not the same. Okay, here's this. Howdy.
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 Howdy. You better do it or I'm going to do it to you. Howdy.
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 How you?
How you?
There, she found it. I used to tell my children, my grandchildren, Brer Rabbit stories, and they're just, howdy, Brer Fox, how you? That sort of conversational style puts it up in that upper range. Can you do that? Hi.
Hi.
There it is. Howdy.
Howdy.
My name's Marianne.
My name's Marianne.
Dang right it is. Good girl. Okay. Can you say, give my regards to Broadway?
Give my regards to Broadway.
Give my regards to Broadway.
Give my...
Give.
Do it normal or...
Yeah.
Okay. Give my regards to Broadway.
Now, did you notice that when you got up to Broadway, that it didn't feel the same as howdy did? Say it. Mine, say howdy.
Howdy.
Broadway.
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 Join me.
Broad.
She's right in that crack there that won't want to break over. So now we're going back to the keyboard, and we're going to do this little game. Can you sing? Slide it. There it is. Which one of those do you want? I vote for the second one.
First one's more normal.
Yeah, well, get over it. Now settle down. You just listen to it first. Now here's the next one. There you are. There you go. Start it. I vote for the second one. All right, now that's the one that you ended on. That's the one I want you to start on.
Hang on. Do it again. Now
wait. When I play that note, you start a note lower that and turn to that note. And that's the place I want you to start. So here you go. I'm not going to let you off this one until you get that one right. Right there.
Hey.
I'm not asking you to change anything, am I? I just want you to find that note. Did you get it?
Is that it?
You tell me.
Okay.
Is that it?
It's not the same.
No, it's not. So make it the same.
Higher. ah, 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 ah.
All right, now all Marianne's doing right now is doing a task that some people learned how to do when they were before they walked. It starts for some children as early as 6 months, and usually is complete by the time a child is 7 or 8 years of age. Those children that grow up with the opportunity to watch Sesame Street, to sing along with Barney, to sing along with Mr. Rogers, or whose mommy sang them a lot of lullabies when they're home, they develop that ability to recognize pitches and reproduce it in their throat without ever really recognizing they do it. It's just musical games that they play. But then by the time they're young adults or even adults, they have adopted that skill much in the same way that they learned how to talk. For somebody like Marianne, who sounds like didn't do that as an early child, you didn't much, did you? She's at the point now where she's got to go back and recapture that skill. There's no fault to be found with Marianne's ear. She can tell when she's not in tune. But she hasn't had the opportunity to figure out how to discriminate in pitch movement so that it's all memorized by how it feels, not by how it sounds. So when you sing, "Give my regard to Broadway," Marianne probably isn't doing that on the basis of what her ear hears, but is on the basis of what the tension level and the vibration level in her throat feels like. But you can do that with your ear. And when I said, "Have you got it?" and she said, "No, I don't think I've got it," I knew at that moment that Marianne had the ability to discriminate between that note and that note. Can you tell me which one of those is higher, the first or the second one? The second one's the higher. Anybody that can do that, anybody that can tell the difference between those two pitches and tell me which one's higher, has the ability to learn how to sing. If I were to do this, and Marianne were able to say to me, the second one is lower than the first one, then I'd know that she had no ability to distinguish pitches, and it would be futile for her to learn how to sing because she couldn't tell the difference in tones. But Marianne can. What Marianne can't do readily right now is to hear it and then reproduce it. And that's just a trial and error situation. We're going to try just a little bit here, Marianne. Can you find that note?
Do it again. Again. Ah, ah, ah.
You notice that by the third time she'd come really close to it. Now the fourth time took her 4 tries and she nailed it straight on. You can't do that when you're on the dance floor, obviously. We had a little example of that with Otis trying to get behind the beat. But the same thing is true for pitch recognition. Now try it. Let's see if within 3 or 4 tries she can localize where this pitch is.
Do it again.
First time out.
Do it again. Ah, ah, ah. Okay. Ah, ah.
4th time, she figured it out.
Ah, ah, ah. There.
3 times in a row now she's hit the same pitch in trying to search for that. And that's an indication to me that she's stuck in a register. Her ear wants to go higher, but she doesn't know how to change the gear to get there. That doesn't have to do with her ear. That has to do with the mechanics of her throat, which is also a learned skill.
Lower.
Right straight on.
Do it again. Ah, ah, ah.
3rd time.
Ah, ah. Ah. One more. Ah, 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 ah.
You hit it each time. Go Okay, now I'm going to move away from the keyboard because sometimes it's easier to do from one human voice to another voice. Here I go. Ah,
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 ah.
ah.
Now I'm a man, and so I sing an octave lower than Marianne does. That may be the challenge for her. Let me do this. Ah, ah,
Ah.
ah.
Yours sounds too high.
I got to start first. I'm not too high. Okay, so here we go again. Ah. She got it. Ah. 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 See, right straight on. She doesn't have to transfer from a keyboard, which has a different sonority. It goes to a human voice. As soon as I go in the octave that she normally sings in, she doesn't have any trouble matching that. Give my regards to Broadway.
That's too weird.
Give my regards to Broadway.
Give my regards to...
Give.
Lower. Give.
There you go. Give my regards.
Give my regards to Broadway.
Close.
Beginning
Give
part.
my regards to Broadway.
Give my regards to Broadway.
Now you see how she's managed to figure that out? That wasn't anything that I taught her. It was just that she had the opportunity to separate it out and let her body figure out how to do it. She had a hard time going from the piano. By the same token, she has a hard time going from the instrumental. She couldn't match my voice when I was in the wrong octave, but when I moved her octave, she picked it up right fast. And that's the sign of a person that has aptitude for it, just lack of experience. Here we go one more time. Give my regard to Broadway.
Give my regards to Broadway.
So you see how dead center that is? Notice, folks, there's no mystery to this. There's no magic. It's just plain old figuring out what the problem is and then addressing the problem. So now, you know what that feels like in your throat? Can you see? No, it's not. It's the same notes that you've been singing all along. Give my regards to Broadway.
Give my regards to Broadway.
You get the microphone. Here you go.
Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Left Alaman that corner. Come home and box the net. Or ladies promenade inside the square. Turn that...
How do the words go? Where is it?
Oh, I don't have it.
Okay, so you give my regards to Broadway. You give a command.
Yeah, circle left. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Left Alaman that corner. Come home and box the net. Four ladies promenade inside the square.
Hey, look there. So frequently, people look for harmony notes just because they're lazy. No, most people wouldn't admit to that. They say, no, I choose the harmony note because it's easier to hit. The operative word there is easy, and the operative word is lazy. Okay, so the trick is to be able to trust yourself. And as soon as she allowed herself the freedom to do it, she did it just fine. So... are you fish or fowl? Let's get in here and swim.
Circle left. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Left Alaman that corner. Come home and box the net. Four ladies promenade inside the square. Turn the...
Box the square.
That's it. Four ladies promenade... What is it? Yeah.
Box the square.
No, left out.
I don't know what it is.
Left Alamanger corner, come home and box the net. 4 ladies promenade inside the square. I forgot. Yeah.
Now let's go back and say, you might be gone to Broadway. Remember me to Harold Square. Remember me to Harold Square.
It's a hard word.
Square. So you know how the 2 violins? They got this little thing up there they turn. Remember me to Harold Square. Give my regards.
Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Left Alamanger corner, come home and box the net. 4 ladies promenade inside the square.
Okay, now, when she sings square, she's starting to move into a new range in her voice. Can you describe what that feels like? Would you spell that for me?
It just feels like an arching. Yes.
It's linked over into some other place, doesn't it?
Yes.
It doesn't sit in the back of your mouth. It doesn't sit down in your jawbone. It starts to move up in the this part of your face a little bit, doesn't it?
Yes.
And you have my permission to feel that. It's a good thing to do. Okay, one last go at it. Only this time, you're going to get, remember me to Herald Square, which you did just this last time. Did great.
Circle left. Give my regards to Broadway. Remember me to Herald Square. Left Alaman that corner. Come home and box the net. 4 ladies promenade inside the square. Turn that partner by the left. A full turn around. Alaman left, come back and promenade. Oh, give my regards to old Broadway and tell them I will soon be there.
Now, is that perfect yet? No. She still slips and slides a little bit. But at least you've been in that territory and said, oh, I can do that. I can't do it perfectly right now because it's just too new. My goodness sakes, whenever I'm teaching singers to sing and they're starting to extend their range, there's always some out-of-tune singing because they just don't know how to negotiate it. So I say, don't worry about it. 3 weeks later, I'll get worried at you if day after day you keep going into that range, and by the end of 3 weeks you haven't figured it out. But you don't need to be upset with yourself. Nobody needs to be upset with somebody else if in the initial stages they're moving into a new range, and they just have to have the time to let their bodies figure it out. And that's what Marianne's involved in. You could already see that she made substantial progress and was able to tune her voice, and it wasn't just because she didn't hear it. It's because she didn't know how. It's a real simple task. Well done, Marianne. Congratulations. Okay, now, William, what do you want to do?
I just want you to tell me.
Well, I don't know. Is there anything in particular that you want me to pay attention to?
No.
If you were critiquing your voice, okay, well, I'm not going to pay attention. Is there a nice young lady I'll go pay attention to out there? No, what is there about your work that you wish were different?
I wish I could yodel again. I used to, but I had Legionnaire's disease, and they put a bunch of tubes down my throat, and then since then I'm unable to yodel.
Let's find out. You're probably accurate about that, but can you do this? Whee!
Wee!
Whee!
Wee!
He's right, he can't yodel. He's lost the upper extension of his voice through the tracheotomy or through the tubes that went down. Now, can that ever get one back? Probably so, but it's not there right now. You may recall that when we were talking about pitch raising, there are some muscles that are embedded in your throat that would not have been affected by the tubes stuck down your throat. When they flex, they stretch your vocal folds longer, and when they get stretched longer, they thin out. When they thin out, the pitch goes up. Are you a fellow that can do one of those lip buzzing things?
I can do a little of it.
Okay. Does it kind of peter out on you about halfway up the scale? Show me.
It won't even work now.
Now, you hear it? He shifted gears there about 2/3 of the way through. And that means he does have access to that upper part of his voice. Maybe since that time, you've been a little bit timid about it and therefore haven't used that range, and it may have gone away a little bit, but I think it could come back. Let's try that again. Okay, that's pretty good. Start at that spot and keep going higher. All right, see, he does have some range in there. A normal man's range would go higher than that. And he can go about 2/3 of the way up there. But this is a fellow who just a second ago said, I can't do that anymore. My guess is that it has less to do with not being able to, and more a case of, I used to be able to do it, and I haven't done it for a while, and there I've sort of forgotten how to do it. Try it some more. Okay, good. Now, the way he was going after that was to push on it. Could you hear him kind of bearing down on his breath? When you bear down on your breath, you tense up your vocal folds too. And so the wrong thing to do is to push on it. Right? Better thing is just to stretch up. It's like stretching a rubber band. All right, now that range is your falsetto range. Then you take where you lift your buzzing and just open your mouth. So you go like this.
Sounding a little hen egg.
No, it's not at all the same sign, not the same kind of sound. But if you really want to recapture that, I'd get all by myself someplace and spend some time just going so that you could move around in that range without worrying about it so much. And right now you're pretty worried about it. And then, once you get so that you can buzz on it, just open up your mouth. And then, and you get it where you can refine those pitches, and as you flip registers, you can tune them. So then you get yodelay, 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 yodeloo, and you get back and forth. And that's just a flipping back and forth and learning how to tune across those register breaks. Okay, so that's about as much as I can say about that for now. What else do you have in your voice that you wished you could do?
Nothing I know of.
Well, then go sit down. No, I'm kidding.
Don't tempt me.
Go ahead and sing.
Old ladies promenade, get a once around that ring. Gonna get on back to swing your man, everybody swing. You join those hands, circle left, go moving around that ring. Alabama left that corner, girl, gonna weave around that ring, 'cause it's a little too late. Swing that girl around and promenade that ring. Well, when she walked in, I should have walked out, but it's a little too late to do the right thing now.
Right off the bat, when he starts singing, his voice is more clear than when he talks. You all hear that? You ought to talk more like you sing. You talk down too low in your range, down in here, graveling along. And if you talked up where you're singing, your speech would be a whole lot easier. I'll bet you that your patter commands would be easier understood as well. There's no difficulty in me understanding him in the slightest. It's an easy, well-modulated voice. It slides up into those middle notes, easy as pie. It slips low enough to be able to get the low notes in this range. No problem there. Is there anything about this that you wish were different? Can you all understand him perfectly well? Would you characterize it as being A warm voice, a balanced voice, or a bright voice? Anybody? Pretty well balanced. Why would we want to mess with that? Do we want to mess with the pitch? No, he's getting the pitches just fine. So that's the challenge. Can you understand him? I can. I don't know what he's saying, but I can understand him. No, I'm kidding. So actually the truth is, William, you're doing what you need to be doing. You don't need to change much. The only reason that anybody would want to change anything that they're doing is if it were not effective. If it were hard to sing, do you tire out when you sing?
No.
Okay, so stamina's not an issue. Is pitch a problem for you?
Not hardly.
Is clarity a problem for him?
I don't think so.
I don't either. Sit down. Thank you. Okay, folks. Now, is there anybody out there? We finished just a few minutes early. If anybody wants to kind of jump forward and give a shot at it, we got a little free for all here. We got a gentleman that talked to me earlier, and then if there's time, we'll get you to come on up. Okay? Okay, now what is it that we're going to be looking for here? Here's somebody else who's not really sure that he's got any faults.
Oh, we've got plenty of them. There's too many. We don't have that much time.
Okay, let me hear what you got.
All right. John. Chain straight across that O-ring. You roll away, circle left. You roll away, circle around that O-A. Left Alaman weave the ring. I could get 20 years for what's going on here. Do a do-si-do. Promenade. Well, I know darn well they can put me in jail for what I've been thinking about you.
Right off the bat, that's fun to listen to, isn't it? It's easy, it's melodious. It can get a little bit better. Let's see if there's something we can do about it. John, this time when you sing, I want you to take your thumb and I want you to jam yourself right there. And I want you to tell me, you maybe already know the answer, how much is going on there?
Probably quite a bit.
We'll count to 10 here.
1, 2, 3.
More. 1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That it's not moving very much, but he's having to work really hard at that. Stick me that same way. Here's you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Second one's not as busy, right? Could you hear what happened to the resonance in my voice too?
How'd you do it?
I just let go of my tongue. I figured out another way to do it. And if I were you, I'd take the newspaper or the Bible or anything that you'd normally read in a day's time and take about 5 minutes a day to stick yourself in the throat and learn how to talk without that thing bobbing around in there. And when you first start learning how to do it, you think, I can't. I just have to do it that way. But that's the dilemma. You start off by saying, I'm not going to move that, and I'm still going to figure out how to talk. And your body will teach you how to solve that problem. Your turn. Count to 10, stick yourself in the throat.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Now, in the process, that was an improvement, wasn't it? Now, open your mouth. And
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right. You know what that feels like? It's still not perfect, but it's a looser kind of feeling, isn't it? When you get up into that upper range right there, that's a dead giveaway. That's going to be the place that you grab a hold. Try not to. Find some other way to do it.
ladies chained straight across that O-ring. You roll away, circle up. You roll away, circle around that O-A. Let the Allemande weave the ring. I could get 20 years for what's going on here. Do a do-side-o. You promenade. Well, I know darn well they can put me in jail for what I've been thinking about you.
First of all, how'd you do? Critique yourself.
Maybe just a touch better. Maybe just a touch better.
How did it sound to y'all? Better. Good improvement. You can do better yet. We don't have to put the record on right now. I don't know that song.
Neither do I. I could get 20 years for what's going on here.
Okay, now, did you notice how you said the word year and how that one really bit on you? Your tongue kind of tightened down on you? I could get 20 years.
I could get 20 years.
Good. Now, can you find that sneezy spot? What it feels like? Go.
I could get 20 years for what's going on here.
I like that better. Can you hear the difference at all? What I hear is that it's got a little bit more balance in its color. It's real friendly, it's really bright, it communicates well, but it's also got a little bit more color to it, a little bit more quality, a little more depth to it than it had before. Would you do it again?
I could get 20 years for what's going on here.
He doesn't lose his country accent along the way, does he? It still sounds country, doesn't sound highfalutin. It's just a little bit more free. Now try that, holding on there, and trying to hold on to that sneezy spot, because as you change from the lower part of your voice to the middle, it may fox you just a little bit.
Ladies chained straight across that O-ring. You roll away, circle left. You roll away, circle round that O-A. Left Allemande weave the ring. I could get 20 years for what's going on here. Do a do-side-o. You promenade. Well, I know darn well they can put me in jail for what I've been thinking about you. It didn't bounce around that much.
No, it didn't. That's actually very good, John. John just whispered and he said, it didn't bounce around very much. But you could tell that, couldn't you? He got the same notes that he got before, but it lacked some of the tightness, some of the drive that was in there. Now it just sounds as easy as pie, like cutting soft butter. And that's a nice quality to have in a voice. That'd be an easy voice to dance to. If you could do that, if you could just adopt that little adjustment, I think you'd have a much happier time when you sing. John approached me sometime earlier before lunch and said that he gets tired after singing. After a full evening of calling, he's a little weary. Yeah, at his age. What, you haven't reached full maturity yet?
That's right.
That's right. So it'll get better, I can tell you. But the reason that he gets tired is because of this thing that he's doing with his tongue that just adds extra weight, extra pressure to his voice. Eliminate that and he sounds real well. Thank you, John. Okay, we got one more. One more to go. What do you want to sing?
What do I want to sing?
Yeah.
I want you to... After the last goodbye is what I'm going to sing.
Hey, what a great way to end the day, don't you think? Now, you remember what we did before lunch? You're going to try to incorporate that? Okay.
Four ladies chain, go straight across that ring. You roll away and circle to the left. Four ladies roll away, circle left that way, left Alaman that corner, weave the ring. Single bars and another one night stand, swing your own and promenade. Looking for love in a new lover's eyes after the last goodbye. Heads you square through, four hands around you do, with sides you make a right hand star. Side star left in the middle, go once around and then same pair you do the right and left through. Swing through and then swing through again, swing that corner promenade. Looking for love in a new lover's eyes after the last goodbye.
All right. For those of you that were here before lunch, Marianne was one of the last people, and we were working on how she managed to make the transition from that low voice, which she just kind of discovered today. Maybe you knew it before, but you didn't use it very much. And you remember she went way, way down low. And then as she came back up, she discovered that she didn't know how to bridge across from that light voice into that heavy voice. And she's just now beginning to experiment with that. I thought you did a really excellent job of it. There was one spot where it got away from you, and that was on swing through. That it yodeled on you a little bit, didn't it? That's just lack of having done it enough times. Here's your pitch. It's about an A. Do you sing that swing through?
Swing through.
That's her old voice. That's the light, heady voice. Now do it with the mixer voice.
Swing through.
More intensity.
Swing through.
Good. Now, I don't remember the tune just a sec, right? Start the song one more time. The second verse.
The one on
the command.
Head square through.
Yeah.
Okay. Head square through, four hands around you do, with that corner lady do, side do. Swing through and then...
Good, you did it. Do the same thing one more time.
Head square through, four hands around you do, with the side you make a right hand star. Head star left in the middle, once around and then, same pair you do the right and left through. Swing through and then...
Good. You didn't jump on you, didn't yodel. Now, I'm going to have her go back and do that the way she would have done it had she not been at morning session, so that you can hear the difference.
Okay. Heads promenade halfway around that ring. That's the wrong thing. Head square through, four hands around you do, with side you make right hand star. Head star left in the middle, once around and then, same pair you do the right left through. Swing through and then, swing through again, swing your corner promenade.
Now, just to see if there's any difference at all, do it the way that you've learned to do it today.
Okay. Head square through, four hands around will do, with the side you make right hand star. Head star left in the middle, once around and then, same pair you do the right and left through. Swing through and then, swing through again, swing your corner promenade.
My suspicion is that the trouble, the criticism that lady callers have received in the past is due to two things. One of them is this thing that Marianne has just been showing. Did she change all of a sudden into her chesty voice? No, she mixed them together. It was still had a lot of heady quality to it, but somehow it had a little more command to it. It had a connection down into her chest that made it more connected, more commanding. It was not a big deal. It was enough, though, to make it kick over into that other range. So the way that she registrates her voice is one major issue for girls. The second thing is this issue that we were doing on with Laurel earlier on today, where instead of letting it get really small in the back of your mouth, you go ahead and relax it and let there be a little bit more space behind the tongue for resonance purposes. I don't think you need to worry about that too much. You seem to have that in pretty good control. But this register thing makes a significant difference as to whether or not you're commanding or whether you're just a sweet person, which you are, but a sweet person can be commanding. Thank you very much, Marianne. Now, you've noticed that in these sessions, there hasn't been very much that's brand new. You can reduce the difficulties that people have with their singing voices to 3 or 4 really foundational things. One of them being, do they use their breath properly? Number 2, do they make the sound in their throat tensely or relaxedly? Number 3, can they shift through their range easily? And number 4, do they keep the space in their throat relaxed and open, or does it collapse and get small? Now, that's not very many things to think about. That's 4 tasks. Singing really doesn't have to be as complicated as it seems. However, I don't want to undersell it, otherwise I'd be out of a job. It's easy to talk about. It's another thing to be able to do it and do it and do it until you get it really, really refined so that you never make a mistake. And you think about somebody like, I don't know, Michael Jordan as a basketball player. How many times has he had to shoot a 15-foot jump shot in order to get it to go in as much as he does? I can guarantee you it wasn't 3 tries and let's go play a game. It's thousands, maybe millions of times that those exact same movements have been repeated again and again and again and again so that he doesn't have to think about it. And that's a good example for each of you. Thousands and thousands of repetitions so that in the moment that you're ready to sing in front of people, you don't have to be thinking about how you do it. You just do it. Then you're free to choreograph on the floor, to think about the issues that are going on. See that square that gets lost over there, this square that's everybody's doing okay except for one poor schmuck that can't quite keep up. You can do all kinds of problem solving because you're not having to be so self-conscious about your singing. So I want to encourage you to invest in how you use your voices while you're not at the dance. Spend some time on it, and it will pay you back many, many times dividends. I appreciate all of your attention, and particularly the guinea pigs that have come forward to allow us to work with them, because it gave a chance to test the principles to see if they had any value. I've enjoyed being with you all. I think I do have a session. Do I, Marianne? At 5 o'clock. Do I know where I'm going? Oh, I'm going right here. All right. So we're going to have that, what's it called? Birds of a feather, buttons and bows. What is this thing we're called? Yeah, and they've got a dress for me to put on so that I can slip in here and fit in with the crowd. I don't know. All right, so thank you all very much. That's the end.